Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 4115 Northeast 70th Avenue here in Portland. Located, currently we're sitting in front of the ADU, and I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the, or I guess in this case, the main house. So right now we are in front of, or the frontmost facing portion of the ADU here. The part that actually faces out to the street. You've got a 3-inch ABS clean out here in the concrete patio. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running. We're going to zero out here, and off we go. So from the looks of it, it looks like we're going to make a turn here and head toward the main home, likely shoot through the back foundation wall. My concern is I'm hoping there's not too many bends and turns in the line. I have not found an obvious clean out access in the main house. Sometimes these lines here that shoot through the back foundation wall get so many turns in them you just can't advance all the way from point A to point B in one go without another clean out access in the main house. We shall see. Alright, so here is the stack inside the main home here. We're going to do a dive down. Alright, that's where we need to cross our fingers and hope for not too many more turns here. Alright, still an ABS. From the looks, we went through some, when we hit that stack there, it's very common from this era of home, whether it's a single bathroom or not, it's generally speaking, most things were plumbed in 4-inch pipe. My assumption is that's probably what that was. Anytime you hit a transition on a vertical drop like that or something, just visually speaking, it's tricky to see the diameter change. I'll watch for some other clues as we come back in once the line's drained out. But a little bit of standing water I've noticed in a couple places. Thus far, they're all very short-lived, short sections of pipe. And I've got a lot of water running at the moment, too, which is going to exaggerate things quite a bit. And you get two or three different fixtures running at the same time, and it'll exaggerate a 1/4 inch of water into what looks like 2 inches. Another dive here. Oh man, I am stoked we made it this far. This is a beautiful setup here. Rarely can you do this. We're hitting 6-inch PVC now. We're out in front of the main house now. So, and if not at this point, very shortly, we will be beyond homeowner responsibility. That transition there is always either at the right of way and or at the face of the curb. So if we didn't cross the curb already, we are going to here in just a second. And superbly clean flow line. This is exactly how you want your sewer line to look. This is what a line looks like when you're treating it properly, not dumping all your cooking oil and grease down it. This looks great. And that's the main there. Line is almost on the nose, 100 feet long. In this case, it's 99 feet. We're going to go locate the camera head really quick. And yes, it was 4-inch pipe because when we hit the transition to 6-inch PVC, that bump out was not big enough to have been from 3 to 6 or something like that. Anyway, we're going to go locate while the line drains out, and we'll take another look at everything. Alright, located the camera head successfully out on 70th Avenue. I'm going to start pulling back in here. Line looks like it's done draining off at this point. Right now my camera's upside down. The flow line's at the top of the screen at the moment. That is a pristinely clean flow line. Looks amazing. Anyway, going back to what I was talking about, just the cleanliness, not putting grease down the line. Cooking oil, grease, fats in general are the #1 culprit to a line getting gunked up. I'm a big stickler on it. It is, after 13 years of scoping sewer lines, I get more concerned about thick grease buildup than I do a lot of structural issues. Like the bellies, for instance, I was mentioning on the way as I was advancing the camera out. By the time you get back in here, they're going to look like some pretty innocuous little bellies. And they will remain that way by and large, unless the line is heavily abused. But what you'll see is that if you dump a lot of cooking oil and grease down the line, you know, dumping your bacon grease, stuff like that, it's mostly from the cooking process. All the PVC pipe looks good, by the way. Great looking piece of pipe there. If you dump a lot of fats down your line, fats will build up anywhere in a sewer line, but they especially like to do so even in the most minor amounts of standing water, whether it's a 32nd of an inch or 3 inches of water. The fat cools down rapidly, and it also floats to the top of the water and starts to build up on the sidewalls. So if you're really abusive to the line, you can get very heavy, thick grease concentrations in what are, generally speaking, extremely minor areas of standing water. So it's a very good maintenance item to keep up with. You want to let your pans cool down, wipe them out with a paper towel, or pour the grease into a jar. Don't pour it into a trash can when it's hot. You'll melt a hole through it. Anyway, it's responsible for a lot of blockage issues out there. And it causes things to hang up that would never normally get hung up in the line. I like to point it out when people are doing things right, and these people are doing it in spades. This is a extra clean sewer line. And so from what I can tell, based on the locate I got out in the road there, the line looks like it pops out of the front of the main house, somewhere in and around, kind of orients to the right of the front door, right of the midline, I guess you should say. It's not perfect, but approximately in that location. I'll draw a little diagram, but it's a very rough, oversimplified diagram. It's not going to have every little turn in the line here. But fabulous setup here. It's very uncommon that you can actually get from an ADU all the way through a main house basement without having to move over to a secondary clean-out access to accomplish it. Usually the turns stop you from doing that, so that's really nice that it's arranged that way. In the event you ever had to do any cleaning or something like that, you can pretty much do it from one access point. So I just turned the camera out to go backwards. We're now back inside the crawl space of the ADU at this point. Everything from this point forward is all exposed piping. All that stuff you can look at with your eyeballs with a flashlight in the crawl space. The home inspector takes a look at that stuff for leaks and whatnot. So we have good flow end to end. The standing water that we saw coming back in was so minor it's not even going on my report. I think most of the reason we had any of what looked like standing water originally is it was likely right where a fixture was tying into the line, which always, you get a lot of water dumping into one location of the pipe. Coming back, there was almost nothing to speak of. Good flow end to end. All the pipe we just scoped there is in good condition, has good flow, superbly clean. Sewer line is functioning properly at this time. That's about as good as it goes right there, especially when you consider you have an ADU home combo like this. Not only that, but rarely do you get every inch of the main line updated like this on a house this age. Usually you get parts and pieces of it, but generally not the entire thing. So you're doing good here. Old house with new guts in it. That's as good as it gets in my world anyway. Anyhow, sewer line is functioning properly at this time for both the ADU and the main house.